Hello, I found this tool comparing fractions from the primary school mathematics collection on GeoGebra.org, and I absolutely love it because I feel there are a lot of things you can learn from this tool, and I would use a lot of them in my future classroom. As you can see, there are two sections, two fractions, and each fraction represents a pie chart, and each fraction is represented on this number line. So the first thing I love about this and would use it for in my classroom is teaching students about simplifying fractions, because I've noticed that students a lot of the time will solve a fraction problem and come up with an answer like 4/8. And this shows them that 2/8 is equal to 1/4, because not only is it filled in the same amount on the pie chart, like yes, 2/8, this pie chart has more sections, but it still has the same amount filled in. And then it even shows that they're represented at the same point on the number line. And then you can even change this to 16ths and make it 4/16 to show them something, that a fraction that even looks as crazy as that, all it really means is 1/4, because they're at the same point in the number line. Another lesson that this tool can be used for is teaching students the relation to fractions and decimals. This tool breaks up this number line in a very organized way. As you can see, the 1/4 red part of this is broken up. It breaks up the number line into fourths, and then the 16ths breaks it up into 16ths all down the number line. So you could change this to something like a simpler decimal, like tenths, and it breaks it up into tenths because students usually learn the tenth decimals first, of course. So then students can see 1/4 is in between it's in between 2/10 and 3/10, because as we know, 1/4 really equals to 0.25. So I could ask students to come up to the smartboard, because with the transparent feature on this site, I would love to put this on my smartboard and have students physically write on it. So I could ask them to come up and actually label what these points are, or just ask them, alright, 4/10, can you just label this one? Or if they're more advanced, ask them to even label something like this if they're really getting into decimals, which would be 0.25. Another way I would use this tool is when I'm teaching students about what numerator and denominator really mean. As you can see, this tool says num and den to represent numerator and denominator, but I would probably use the transparent function on the smartboard and actually write out numerator and denominator to avoid confusion. So as you can see right now, the numerator is 1 and the denominator equals to 4, so that means this fraction is 1/4. That way students can really see when you increase the denominator but leave the numerator the same, you'd think because you're increasing something that the value is increasing, but really the more you increase it, the more the value of the fraction decreases, because it just adds more parts. As you can see, there are much more parts added to this. But then when you increase the numerator, that's where you increase the value of the fraction, because you're representing more and more of those parts. So if you have the numerator at 10 and the denominator at 19, that's worth more than having the denominator at 20. And you can show them in comparison to this chart. For example, 10/20 sounds like it would be greater than 10/10, but when you compare them, you can see that it's really not. Well, this doesn't go up to 1 whole, but you can tell just from 9/10 that 10/20 is less than 10/10 because 10/10 would be here, 1 more tenth than 9/10, while 10/20 is just half because half of 20 is 10. So it really teaches students what denominator and numerator mean, and the fact that when you increase the denominator, the value is actually decreasing, and it's the numerator that when you increase, it increases the actual value. So there is many lessons to be learned from this one tool, and that's why I love it so much, and definitely am going to put it in my DGO library and would suggest it to many teachers. Comparing fractions. Thank you.